Hello and welcome to the first ever episode of my new podcast. It is the Our Stars and Stripe and Maple Syrup. We are brought in association with the lads and lasses from SAFC NASA, the Supporters Association here in North America. And today we have Sean Coxon with us. Sean is the worst of all Sunderland supporters because he is by birth a Geordie. Sean, hello, and thank you for coming on.
How are you, Gav? Thanks for having us.
Sean, tell everybody a little bit about yourself, how long you've been in the US, what brought you here, that kind of stuff.
So I've been here for 10 years now. I came out here coaching football. So I've got a football coaching business called Black Cats Football Club. Giving myself a little plug there, Gav, you know. I'm from Gateshead, so that's why I've got a bit of a funny accent. But my dad used to take us to Roker Park when I was a kid, so I grew up at Roker Park and I've been red and white ever since, really.
Just think if you'd mad taken you to the match first, you'd have been making £30 million signings today.
I know, I would have done. My ma's a black and white season ticket holder. I think that's why they got divorced, my mum and dad. Funny enough. So,
how did they even get married? I mean, I can't work that one out.
Yeah, do you know what? They connected. I mean, they were young and daft, weren't they? And they got together. And obviously, she knew he was a Sunderland supporter. And they were fine when they were young, but as things got a bit older, you know, that's what happens.
All right. So what we'll do is we'll make sure that if you look in the link, you'll see Sean's business link there. I'll get that off him in a little bit. So anybody who's got kids in New Jersey needs coaching and you're really desperate for someone, Sean's your boy.
There you go.
All right, Sean, let's get straight into it with the shit show that was the Bolton match yesterday. Where do you start?
I've picked a great game, haven't I? I was buzzing with this. When you told us I was coming on, I thought, Bolton will be okay. It'll be, you know, we'll be talking about a win, but I don't know, Gav, it's a tough one, isn't it? I mean, when the team come out, I was optimistic. I thought, you know what, it's quite attacking, it's decent, but then I don't know why he's changed the back five that he went with the week before. You know, but a back five against Pompey looked pretty solid. He goes to Bolton. I don't know. Sometimes I look at him and think, what's he thinking?
Yeah,
you know,
I think if you look at the games we've lost this season, the 7 that we've lost, I was noticing stats online this weekend that was showing that they were always a back 4 for the 7 we've lost. And when you started a back 5, we haven't lost all season.
I mean, it's a tough one, isn't it? Because old Parky used to get slated for it. And if every time we play a back 5 and we don't score enough, you know, the managers get slated. So I don't know. It's a tough one. But for me now, I don't know your thoughts, but for me now, he's got to go. I mean, look, let's
be honest, Sean. It's the 30th of January as we do the recording here. We've got 30 hours of the transfer window left.
We have.
Like, you can't fire someone and bring somebody in new, and then it's like admitting that the season's over. Give him the end of the year. If he doesn't get us promoted, what have we lost? As things stand, most fans think that he's not going to get us promoted anyway.
Right.
And I'm listening to idiots out there talking about bringing in Warnock for one last hurrah. And honestly, I would rather burn the stadium to the ground than have Warnock as our manager.
Oh, kidding.
I just dislike him immensely. But look, I think one signing makes a difference. You bring in a combative midfielder to that team.
That's what we need. Yeah.
Like, you need a Lee Barry Catamol. That's what you need. Somebody who, look, he might not be the most skillful of players. And I know he was a bit of an attacking maestro when he was in League One with us that one season. But you bring in someone who can organize that midfield so that the defenders aren't as stressed. That can free up your Embleton, your Pritchard, your Neil to do the attacking stuff they need to do, knowing that they're not going to have to track back every 5 minutes. And you get players just to play the ball in front of each other.
Yeah, you get a bit more freedom out of them, don't you? But I think, listen, I've never wanted them. I defended him after the playoffs last season after we fell apart. And I know a lot of people wanted him out then. And I thought, you know what? He's done okay. He came in January. We had a good run. We've done okay. We fell apart, you know, fair enough. And then we started, listen, in credit to him, we had to start this season well. I thought to get him, you know, to get fans back, and we have. We started the season very well, didn't we? We done well in the cups. We were flying. We had a really good run. But then this whole, look, we shouldn't be losing 5-1 at Rotherham. We shouldn't be getting teams who go up don't be getting pumped 3-0s, 5-1s, 6 that they don't have, you know. And I think there's a fundamental problem there. And I think for me, yeah, you're saying if you keep him, we're not going to go up. Well, let's gamble and get rid of him and try something different. I think he's got to go now.
I'm going to jump. I think we are going to go up still.
Right.
I think if you look at the amount of football those lads have played over the last 2 months, they've played, was it 14 games in 2
I've
months?
played a lot, yeah.
You look at the likes of was it? You got Rotherham and Wigan. They've all had games cancelled. Wigan, especially, they're 13 games in hand or something stupid like that. They're fresh still, so it's easy for them in January to be able to have those energetic performances that we just haven't got.
They've got a brutal February coming up as well, Wigan. I don't know if you've looked at the fixtures, Gav, but they've got like their February's brutal. They're going to slip up, but you see, the problem is their teams are slipping. We just don't seem to capitalize, you know. And
yesterday would have been the perfect example. Teams dropped points yesterday. Wigan, as I say, yesterday should have been a game that we capitalized on. Wigan drew 0-0 at Cheltenham yesterday.
I know. Listen, you've obviously, you're older than me. You've been a Sunderland fan longer than me.
What do you mean? Obviously, I'm older than you.
Well, you know, you can tell by looking at you. But no, anyway, joking aside, we shouldn't be. Listen, that's got to be our worst. I mean, come on, we're in the 3rd division, getting beat 6-0. I've never known it.
I've seen worse. Look, so I've seen worse performances
in the Premier League and stuff. You accept it,
just in general.
You know?
I mean, I went to my first match in '78.
Right.
So, I mean, I've been going for a while. I've seen a fair few really bad Sunderland teams in my time. I think that performance against Southampton, where we lost 8-0 with Virgini's wonder goal.
Oh, that was great, that.
I think Bat was trying to outdo him yesterday. It was a cracking diving header.
But, you know, in the Premier League, not to cut you off, in the Premier League, look, you can get spanked. You can. Any team can spank you in that league. But in the 3rd division, really, it shouldn't be happening, Gav. You know, I know it is. And look, I remember going to Wickham. I went home a few weeks back there and I went to a few games. And I went to Wickham with my dad and the boys. And we get to Wickham and I was like, what a shithole. And look at the state of this ground. And my dad was
like, the field in the background that has the cars parked on us.
Oh, and then they put a sign up saying the car park is sold out. It was brilliant. But my dad was like, look, we've earned the right to play in this division. He goes, you know, you're criticising. He goes, but we are where we are. And I thought, you know, he's right. Like, you know,
I think that's how you've got to look at it from a fan's perspective. I mean, Twitter's full of guys who only ever knew Premier League football, and they're all moaning about how a club this size doesn't deserve to be where we are. But I see the results on the pitch tell you exactly where you deserve to be. And right now, as an organization, as a club, we deserve to be in League One. We haven't done enough to get out.
We haven't. But what do you make of the business so far? I think it's been pretty good, hasn't it, up to now? What we've signed.
So if you look at the what did we do? We did Hume from Ireland, who I know nothing about.
Which is strange as well, because he's barely, you know, if you
clearly it's one of those signings that's one for the future.
But we need
I like Roberts. From what I've seen and what I've heard, he should be a good one for the future. Yeah. But look, it's great bringing in these Sirkins and these Doyles and players like that who can have longevity with the club, because for so long we were signing Rodwells and we were signing
of course we were.
the knackers that Moyes brought in, like Pina, who was 96 when he signed for us.
Yeah, they just took the piss and they come for a payday. Yeah.
So I mean, I like the fact that we're forward thinking, and all those players that are coming in with a certain brand of football in mind. But you just need somebody in there disrupting midfield. Somebody who can put his foot on the ball. If you look at the way that Arsenal fell apart as an organization, when they lost Vieira, they never replaced Vieira with an enforcer style midfield player. And it didn't matter how pretty they played, they got disrupted. And that's the problem with Sunderland. We're not the most physical team in the division. There are a lot of really big bruising teams out there, and we just wilt against them. Now, you know, if Lee Barry Cattermole was in that midfield and we started to go down at that, he'd be the first one to say, all right, lads, I'm going to take a booking for the team. Watch this.
Yeah, we're not cute enough, are we? I think it showed. Listen, I know although 9 gets a lot of stick, people say, oh, he's a shit house. He is. When he plays, he mixes it up a bit and stuff. And I think since he's went out the team, you know what? We've missed that.
We really have.
And you know, and Chris Maguire wasn't everyone's cup of tea.
Maguire was streakier than Parkinson.
He was, but listen, we'll go back to 09, but he's a pest. He's a pain in the arse, you know, and we've never had that. I think obviously when I went back, I went to the Chef Wed game. I took Niall, my son. It was his first game. And I took him to the Chef Wed game and we couldn't believe it. He was like, oh, this is great, this. And he thought it was going to be like that every week, for some reason.
Yeah, I've got a couple of friends who've taken their kids to their first games this season. And it's like, oh, this must be great. I'm like, oh, you poor little kid.
And he loved it, right? But then you say that, you look at that game and you think, wow, we're going to win. I left that ground thinking we're going to piss this league. I thought best team in it by a mile. There's no one attacking centre that there's no one can match with. I thought, well, brilliant. And then we go to Wickham and there was rumours, obviously, the Wickham game was going to go off with the COVID and stuff. And looking back now, I don't know what you think. Looking back now, I kind of wish it had. I mean,
yeah, we should have thrown a sickie. I definitely think we should have.
I was down there, and you know what, right? I was excited. It was my first away game in years, and I was desperate for the game to go ahead. I was thinking we've got, hotels booked. We've got the weekend with the boys and stuff, and it'll be great. So, from my selfish point of view, I wanted the game to go ahead. And but even that game, you're looking at it thinking they're good at set pieces, they're going to bully you. And I thought the second half, Sunderland were brilliant in that game. Absolutely, I thought that was the best I've seen Sunderland play for years in that second half. I thought we hammered them, but that soft little underbelly we've got where we just can't defend set pieces and just give away stupid free kicks and put pressure on ourselves. And it's the same pattern, Gav. I think
it was. So we did the NASA social last night with the guys from New Zealand. And one of the things that got brought up yesterday was how frequently when Sunderland are defending a free kick that's going in the final third, how frequently the players turn their back on the ball to get back into position. You look, Gooch did it for Gooch and somebody else did it. Gooch and Winchester, I think it was, did it for Lincoln's first goal. Again, it was done yesterday as well, and it's just basic stuff. And it's like these are decent players. It's like they're not. It's not like they're crap, but these are basic mistakes, and that's something that comes from the coaching point of view.
Yeah,
your manager's got to be in there, or your coach, whatever his role is within the organization. He's got to be the one who's like screaming from the touchline.
Yeah, he speaks about game management. Say, he pisses me. Look, I love his passion and his fire, right? Like, he gets involved, and look, we've had a lot of managers in the past that we've said what a miserable bastard like Parkinson and stuff. They just sit there, and Jack Ross wasn't your most flamboyant and stuff. Johnson, he's up and down, he's kicked, but for me, he's a prick. Listen, he gets yellow cards every week for you watched the game yesterday, Gav. I think the first 5 minutes he caught the ball when it's on the line, and the Bolton manager's like, what are you doing? Like, why? Like, what you being a bell end for? You instantly just drawn I think it was the Chef Wed game. I was in the West Ham for the Chef Wed game. We're 4-0 up and he's giving it the big one on the sideline, kicking on. And I'm thinking, the game's won, mate. You're 4-0 up. Like, what are you getting a card for? It's 4-0 up. Like,
that's what he took when he grabbed the guy by the throat.
No, that was the Lincoln game.
See, the fact that we've got multiple examples of his lack of discipline on the sideline is ridiculous.
And then I just think to myself, like, is it what the young players need? I get the young, and I think you've got to coach them more because they're young, but I just think sometimes players look across and think, what a twat, and it, I don't know, mate. He lets himself go. He lets himself go, doesn't he?
He loses his rag and he loses his discipline. I mean, it started last year at the Oxford game when they had the frat guy in the tunnel.
Yeah.
And he got his assistant manager got a ban and he got a ban, and things just dropped. Like, Sunderland won it. Well, up here, we'd won that game.
Yeah.
And just for some reason, things just fell off.
You don't mind it. Sorry, you don't mind it as a one-off, Gav. You don't mind it every so often when you're playing these teams who are trying to rattle you and stuff. You don't mind that, but every week they'd be picking up cards, upsetting. Like, he's always having to go at the third official, shouting at them. You just think, mate, fourth official. Listen, I'm you know what I mean, son.
Yeah, linesman. It was linesmen and referees.
The lino. But he's just a bell end, isn't he?
Look, I like the fact that he came in with a mentality. I like the fact that he brought a newer look to what it is that we do as a club. With, I know you were taking the piss out of him last year with his Pormo stuff, but
hey.
But look, I mean, the football that we do play when we're playing well is so much better than it was under Grayson, under Parkinson, under Ross. it's fun to watch when we're even when we're struggling to break teams down. You can see the mentality behind that. But it's just that, as you said, that weak underbelly, the fact that we don't have a dominating midfield player in the middle of the park, someone like an LBC who can just scream at players.
Oh,
Like,
you're
or
very
they
American now, aren't you? Very American. Initial, giving people initials, you know.
Well, I've seen Lee Barry Catmull every time's a bit much, but
there you go.
you know what I mean. It's
I do.
It really is. I mean, so look, let's look at as I said, the game yesterday was a write-off. I was looking forward to I purposely delayed starting this podcast by a week because I thought we were going to get humped off Portsmouth.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, Bolton's a little bit of a better game to get this started off with, but shows how much I know. So look, the Bolton fiasco is done. Who would you bring in? You can bring in a player. You're gonna get some cash off the
Are you though? Are you?
Well, let's be positive. Let's say he's gonna give you some cash. Like after you've bought your mix up, who are you bringing in? Like who's the most important player for you to bring in?
I think you're right what you've said. I still think we need a centre back as well. I think the spine of the team for me. I think.
But Shawnee, we've got the Bath lad. We've got the Aussie Wright. You've got Doyle. You got Flanagan. We've got 4 centre backs.
Yeah, but we've got the big Kosovan lad as well. Who, by the way, do you know? I haven't seen anything of him, but when I was at the Wickham game, he was warming up. He's a monster. He's a big boy, by the way. Like he's on the sideline. I'm thinking, you know what? They're pumping balls into the box. Get the back, get him on. You know, he's a unit. What harm can he do? Like give over? You know, I think put him on the pitch. He'll win a few headers. He'll mix it up a little bit. So
you think centre back is still the most important position to find?
Yeah, well, the spine of it. Look, I think big. You'd be amazed how many defensive headers Ross Stewart wins. I think I love the kid. I think he's class. And up there he battles and works. But I think, like you said, I think behind him. He needs someone to just sit behind him and just mop things up. And then we need a centre, because you look at the centre backs. Doyle, listen, he's had a good season, but he's a kid. He's 18 and he looks tired. He does look tired. I think Flanagan, you know something, up until we got pumped off. I can't remember what game it was the other week, and he was dreadful. And you look at it and go, up until that, he's been pretty good. He's had a decent season, Flanagan. He's not everyone's cup of, the Lincoln game. He's not everyone's cup of tea, but he's been okay. And I just think they look tired. I think they need a break. Let's get Bath and someone else in.
But I think you're right. I think we do need a break. I think the fact that your Wickhams and your Wiggins have all had breaks because of COVID. And listen, nothing shocked me more than when the Premier League came out this week and said, "Oh, by the way, now if you want to cancel your game because of COVID, you got to prove they've got COVID." And I was like, they didn't have to before.
Nah, of course they didn't. The match got away with it, didn't they? Of course they did.
I mean, man, look, that's like us calling it, yeah, boss, I'm not coming to work to work today. I'm like, come on.
And your sick voice.
Yeah.
You know. But I think another position, obviously the midfield's critical. I think I'd like a centre back, a centre mid, and a right back's massive, because
it's a lot for one day, though.
It is, but you know, we've identified these problems as fans, right, for ages, and it never seems to get.
So you don't think we need another winger?
No, because I think, look, we've got the lad Jack Clark who's come in. McGeady's on his way back. I think Jack,
we've
got loads of options. That young Robert, he can play there. Roberts, I think you could put Embleton there. Pritchard. We've got a load of options out there. I don't think we need any. I don't think we need that type of player.
Do we need a striker?
I think we do, you know, because you look, say again, then I'm talking about 4 players and you're not going to get them. But you look at it and go, what's more important? I think a midfielder's more important, right? But then if Stewart gets injured, we're Paggard, aren't we? We are, because he's the best striker.
Now remember, Sean, this is primarily for an American audience, so Paggard is probably something most Americans are not familiar with.
Paggard, fucked.
Sean, hey.
Sorry, right. bleep that out. Injured. There you go.
Injured.
All right. There you go. We'll not use the Paggard. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So you bring in. I mean, let's.
If I could only bring in 2, I'd bring in a forward and I'd bring in a midfielder.
Is that forward Jermaine Defoe?
I mean, I mean, I've had debates with you about it, and originally I thought I didn't want him because I thought, you know, my views, right? I thought he was happy to leave when the going got tough, and I think people might go, "Oh, well, look, he couldn't wait to leave. He couldn't." And for me, I think now you're coming back at 39, and look, I get right. If it's 1-1, you take the Accrington game the other day or whatever. We need that second goal. 15 minutes to go. He comes. He'll probably get a goal in that league. You know, he probably will nick one. He can create chances on his own because of his cleverness and his explosiveness. You know, so he'll do a job. But I don't know. What's your thoughts on it?
So I've been against it from the start.
Yeah,
not
I know
because,
you have. Yeah.
not because he left us when we got relegated from the Premier League. Obviously, at his age, he didn't have much top-tier football left in him. So I completely understand looking after your own career.
He went to Bournemouth and sat on the bench, didn't he? So
I still scored goals for Bournemouth and then went to the Scottish Premier League. So
all right, okay.
So for me, you're looking at a couple of key points. A, he hasn't played but what 9 minutes since May of last year. 9 minutes. And it's like, and it was a minute here, 6 minutes there, and 2 minutes here. So he hasn't been playing. It's not like he's been playing reserve team football either. He just hasn't. He's been training and that's it. So I think there's a lot to be said for match fitness.
Yeah.
Would it take him longer to get match fit at this level? Look, I'm 46. It takes me half an hour just to be able to wipe my ass in the morning. Like,
he's a super fit lad though, isn't he? Like, you know, like he's with his diet and everything. I know, like, he doesn't drink, he doesn't eat meat. He's super fit, man. He is, and I think he looks.
But there's been fit, and then there's been match.
There
fit,
is.
so,
I agree, but
I think if you look at the fact that he's 39, he hasn't been playing football. I won't be unhappy if he doesn't sign. Let's put it that
neither
way.
will I.
Like, I'm not saying I don't want him to come to Sunderland but I'm just happy with the memories of Jermaine Defoe I've got, and the key memory of Jermaine Defoe that I've got is that screamer against the Mags. I have never seen a goal deflate a team quicker than that one did against them.
Do you think he's being used as a stick to beat Johnson? Because I mean, when you look at it, there was all that reports from the Echo. Johnson doesn't want him. Why is it not being done? And I felt, in a way, I felt sorry for John about that, because I thought, you know what, they're using this now as a get Johnson out, and you know, if he signs the 4, all will be good, and it might not be, you know. So I've got mixed views. Like, I don't trust the Echo when it comes to my my Sunderland news. That's like, I stopped reading their stuff ages ago. Right.
So yeah, look, I mean, look, there was some reporting in this week that had claimed that the management structure had been the agreement. Defoe wanted to come.
Yeah,
Dreyfus and the board wanting them there, and it was Johnson that was the sticking point. And if it is, you know what? Fine. I have no problem with that. I would much rather managers say, you know what? It's just not my kind of player. It's just not the kind of guy I want in here. But if that conversation hasn't been had and that information isn't accurate, to go to press with it is irresponsible.
Yeah,
I know that. Like, growing up, I'd read the Echo. It would be like the Sports Echo every Saturday for the match information.
Yeah.
But I used to have the paper around. I'd read the Echo Sports on the way around, reading everybody's back pages right before they got their paper delivered. And it was good writing, but it's just the quality of writing, the quality of journalism at the Echo, and the Chronicle's just as bad, and the North is terrible. Like, there's just no reliable press when it comes to that. But one of the things that I will say about this club since Dreyfus came over is they keep their cards a lot closer to their chest.
Yeah, they do. A lot less gets leaked, doesn't it?
There's a lot less of our recruitment is done through the press. Now, look, it may be because we're League One and the Sun and the Mail and
we're not as big. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, we're not as, you know, newsworthy, you know. So,
but it's a lot. I'm happy just learning that we've signed somebody like Roberts was a good signing. I know that they talked about that for a couple of days.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, look, I think if we could bring in a match-ready central midfield player, somebody who's going to be able to break up play.
See, that's the key. I think what you said there, it's tough to bring in players who haven't played in January, because by the time they get up to speed, it's March, you know, and you look at Pritchard, prime example. I think he's brilliant, by the way. I think he's a Rolls Royce in this league. But it took him a while to get going, didn't it? He was sick with COVID, the lad, and he didn't play much. And
so when I was home in September, he looked awful.
Yeah.
Even though we won that game comfortably, it wasn't a great performance for them, and he happened to be staying at the hotel where I was as well, just by the stadium.
Great.
And so I spoke with him the next day, and he was like, "Yeah, look," he said, I haven't been playing football. I'm getting into it.
Yeah.
Like, I'll get there. Don't worry about it. I'll be good for you. And he has been. Look, I mean, he's been outstanding the last couple of months, but he's a luxury. I think he's a luxury in this league.
He is, and I tell you, I'd like to see him and McGeady in the same team. I really would. I think there's no team would have that luxury of them two. I know
so that's the thing, though. Luxury. Can you afford two luxury players?
The match winners, aren't they?
You know, McGeady's not coming back to defend, which Djaku is getting pelters for online.
But you know, I look at the tight games though, Gav, right? And I look at every time we go a goal up. I think I text you. I mean, half the times because I'm miserable and negative. But I text you, and what do I always say? We need a second. We need a second. Sunderland always need a second, you know. And I think
a third and a fourth most of the time.
But listen, if you've got that McGeady, you can cut in and bang one in and do what, create something and get a second. And against these half, these average team, it's gonna win your games 2-1. It really is, it's going to win your games 1-0 in tight games.
Do you not think McGeady's kind of been found out? He's lost his pace. So his thing is his quick feet. But as a defender, when you're defending against McGeady, you know what he's going to do. He's going to fake to the left and then cut inside on his right foot and try and curl it in the top corner.
I mean, he got away with it. I mean, look, after Christmas last season, he was brilliant. When he was setting up all them goals for Big Wyke, he was excellent. It's hard to judge him this season because he hasn't played much. He's been injured a lot, and so for me, coming back, get him sharp with a couple of months to go. What harm could it do to say, look, get at players for a couple? Like, I don't know. I just think having that quality, on the pitch rather than on the bench wins your games. In my opinion.
Do you start McGeady though?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
I mean, with the young lad Clark, Gooch, Djaku,
Gooch,
Roberts.
Gooch wouldn't be in the other team for me.
Really?
I'm not using him as a scapegoat. Yeah, I think
he does get. So let's be honest. He's our only American player, and he hasn't developed the way he should have. And part of me says that that's entirely down to him. That's his fault. He should have. But also, if you look at the shit show that we've had for the last 3-4 years since he made his, and again, everyone it feels as though Gooch has been around forever, but the Premier League he made his debut the last Premier League season, I think it was. And look, when he's not, he's been this season. He's played left back, right back, centre mid, right wing, left wing.
Yeah.
And then look, I know he loves a dribble, but if you look at it purely from a stat point of view, he's delivered more goal-scoring opportunities than any other player in the league.
I think it's tough after a 6-0 defeat, right? Because there's always going to be scapegoats. There's always going to be get him out the team. Fans are going to want changes. They're going to want players to take the blame, and I think, but for me, and listen, you make a good point. He's played at right back, left back, wing back. He's done a Kieran Richardson. He's played in every position, he really has. And it's hard to judge. It's hard to criticize a lad who's playing at right back who isn't a right back, and he gets slated, and you go, he's not a right back.
When Human Circle were out and they popped him in at left back, I'm like, come on, this is a right winger. Why are you putting he's adaptable? Yeah, he'll do a job, but for those fullback positions, you need dedicated fullbacks. There's just a positioning perspective.
But even I think we've looked solid at when we've had Bailey right there, who can defend a little bit. I think, okay, going forward, Gooch is better going forward than Bailey Wright. Of course, he is. You're not going to get Bailey Wright doing marauding runs down the wing and whipping in balls. But from a defensive standpoint, when the game's, when you're deep in the game's coming at you, Bailey Wright can defend better than what Gooch can. So for me, having him at, you what?
Undoubtedly.
So for him at right back, he's a lot better option. But here's one. Let's just try and get a right back. I mean, we just never seem to be able to get a decent fullback and run of games, do we?
I like Winchester at right back this season. He's done a decent job.
So do I, but then if we can't bring people in, Gav, he's our best defensive midfielder. Yeah. So You're taking. When we signed him as a midfielder, didn't we? As that deep line midfielder, and then obviously he's done a good job at right back. He's done a really good job there. But if we don't get a defensive midfielder in, you're left with the pensioner Evans, who I mean, give over,
Look,
So
I wasn't blown away by the signing of Evans. I'd rather have had his brother any day. But like was it he came from Blackburn, was it?
Yeah.
Blackburn fans spoke highly of him. Like, but again, it's his injury issues. Like, how many games has he played this year?
Yeah. That's the thing. You can't. We need players who are going to, get a run in the thing. This is another thing. And can you criticize Johnson? Maybe. I mean, we seem to have, like last year, we had a whole bank of defenders injured, which ultimately cost for promotion. This year, so many injuries at once, and you can go, well, the pitch and stuff, but I don't know, mate. Why they're all getting niggles? Why they're all, we seem to look. I don't look into every team's injury lists, but there's not many teams that have injury lists like Sunderland every season where it's 8, 9, 10 key players.
But that's the worrying thing, is the fact that we have had for the second year in a row an injury crisis at the back.
Yeah.
Like, and you gotta turn around and say, okay, well, look, is it the coaching? Are we too aggressive in our coaching? Are we playing too much at once?
Yeah.
Or is the rehab now? Is the medical staff not up to snuff? I know we got rid of a whole lot of people when we came down from the Premier League. Like, I look at it like you got people like Dave Billingsley, who was the on the physio team, just got let go. Just like, thanks, Dave, done. He's at Man United now. There's no way we're getting him back, but he's fantastic. I went to school with Dave. Good lad.
Right.
So maybe it's the medical stuff. They're just not doing the. Maybe the players aren't fit enough, and that's what it is. I mean, it could be anything, but to have multiple injury crises like we have had this year and last year. Like, if you look at if it was the Wickham game where we should have pulled it. We had 4 players out with COVID.
Yeah.
And then you had that injury list that was lengthy.
And you're having to bring back Jack Diamond and Pat. Yeah, it was tough. I mean, in a way, you can say credit to it, because look, when we've had
I was proud of the fact that we kicked off. I was proud of the fact, and I was proud of the performance the lads put in.
And I loved it, by the way, because it was a cracking weekend. So I was buzzing with it,
But the sensible thing probably would have been to call the game off.
Yeah.
No, due to COVID and injuries, we can't field the team.
Do you think as well? I don't think I asked you this, because I know we speak quite a bit and stuff, but do you think the Lincoln result was a knock-on effect of conceding in the 98th minute? Because I think when obviously we were in the away end, and when Ross Stewart scored, the scenes were. It's why you love this club, because the scenes were phenomenal. There was people jumping over your heads, and I think it was funny because I fell and I landed on the. And Stewart just went, "What a knobhead!" And this kid ended up picking us up, and it was brilliant, And then I just gets back to my seat, and they go and score up a corner, and I think, good God, and you just.
I was sat at home watching it, and I was like, they got the corner, and I was like, they shouldn't have had a corner. We should have just pumped it out for a throw-in or something. So I saw the goal coming. Yeah, look, I can imagine it being a bit of a knack and a take, as it could be kicking the balls.
Because you look at
these guys are professionals. This is what they get prepared to do. That'd be like me missing out on a house listing, or you missing out on a coaching opportunity and then just dialing the next one in. Like,
but I think a lack of experience comes in there, though, because you know what, you've got to get over that, and I don't think they did. I think I think like a real manager, captain in that club, like a Grant Ledbetter, would have had everybody back up and kind of raring to go. And look, I didn't like him as a player, but even Lee Power would have, like, the passion that Power would show. Lee Power, Max Power.
Whatever. I didn't care about him.
Hey, I would have kept him personally. He's done well at Wigan up to now. So, and you're telling, listen, I spoke to a fan the other day, and I says, look, do you think Power would get in this team now? You've got to say yes, he would.
I think he'd get in ahead of Evans. I think we've downgraded that
sort of
midfield player. I mean, you called him old man. He's only 31.
Yeah, is he 31? Christ,
31.
Jesus.
Yeah. If that's old, I feel really bad now.
Yeah, so do I. But
what, he's played how many games this season? 13.
Yeah, there's an issue there, isn't there? And When does the window close? Does it close tomorrow? Does it close Tuesday?
Monday. So I think it's like
Right.
11 o'clock.
11 o'clock. And
Unfortunately,
we
Sky
right.
Sports no longer have Jim White there, do they? For that
Do they not?
yellow tie.
Killing us, mate. Yeah, going mad.
But look, I we got to wrap it up because I didn't want to do like 45, 50-minute podcast for people to get bored with.
Yeah.
But I've had a lot of fun doing this one. But
so that's been good, mate. I thought you were going to give us a nice quiz or something or something.
All right, so here's the three. Manager, keep Mudbinham.
What? Sorry, I missed that.
The manager, do you want to keep Mudbinham?
Binham.
Who'd you bring in?
The lad that Hull have just sacked.
What, McCann?
McCann, yeah.
Okay. Owner. Is Kirill the owner or is it a cabal of the dodgy white boys?
Do you know what? I was gonna mention this, right? So I know you want to get off, right? But there's no look, when I went back, I don't know if you noticed this, right? But when I went back, that stadium's like I got me dad a season card, right? And I think you know where I'm going with this. I got me dad a season card because he's 65. He got the over 66 deal. The card came, right? And honestly, Gav, what a shambles, right? It's a white card.
The white plastic. Nothing
on it at all. And then a signature on the back. It's got like no colour or anything. Now, I'm sorry. And then it's got a letter saying, oh, due to print and prop. Look, if you're a billionaire, right? You with all this money, image is everything, right? Yeah. Image is absolutely everything. You're a billionaire. You're telling me you've got not a chance. I'm not buying it. You look at the state of the pitch. It's horrible.
It is. Shit. I mean, look, the pitch has been as bad as I've ever remembered any Sunderland pitch being in my life. And I'm talking going back to Roker Park in the early 80s. And again, look, that's been another concern of Johnson's. I mean, the fact that the pitch isn't.
Yeah.
But then you look at it and we've got what? Ed Sheeran and somebody else coming in the summer.
We're not helping ourselves, are we?
No, I think what they're planning on doing is I think that they're going to be growing a pitch that'll get installed after those matches, so it'll be a brand new pitch laid down.
Yeah,
just hope it gives enough time to bed in. All right, so manager, no ownership.
I don't know. What do you? It's a tough one, isn't it? I think.
Look, I like the way that the club has shaped itself since the Chancellor's left, even though they've still got a minority sharing. I don't care what the percentages are because it's none of my business. I'm just a supporter.
Do you know what was hilarious, Gav? Sorry. Do you know what was hilarious? I took the missus to the Lincoln game, right? And
you romantic, you.
Oh yeah, tell you what, you know, I'm not just a stunner, I'm a romantic as well. But I took her to the Lincoln game, right? And it was dead funny because it's cash only now, right, in the stadium. And there was listen, I always attract.
Is it cash only or no cash?
It's cash. Sorry, it's no cash. It's cards only, right? So I always attract knackers wherever. I don't know why it is. They just seem to latch onto us. So I'm sitting with the missus, and there's guys behind us there, and he's going. He went. Have you got a card? I haven't got a card. I went, no. Can I borrow your card? I went, no. He's asking everyone, give us your card. He said, I've only got cash. Sitting there, big chains. I thought, he's a drug dealer, this kid. You know, I thought, there's no way. And she was like, this is terrible. She says, he's asking everyone, and then his mates are going, there's about 10 of them needing cards. You know, and I'm sitting thinking, wow,
I think it's a typically Sunderland kind of a problem, though. I think you have those kind of guys. Like, they're the guys that I grew up with. It's like he's got a pocket full of cash, but he hasn't got anything in his bank account. It's like, it's funny.
I was laughing.
So I'm prepared to give the owner the benefit of the doubt. Look, I don't care about your dad's season card. It's a printing issue. I think the work that they've done behind the scenes to get the club on a professional footing has been good.
Yeah.
I just want to see him spend a bit of money. I'm not expecting this shell like 30 million out the way the Saudis did today, but like 2-3 million on one player, someone who's going to be proven championship class that wants to come for the challenge, is mid to late 20s and can kind of give us the next step is what we need. Right. Signings, that, as I said, that's what I think we need. You want a striker and a central defender, or a right back and a midfield player and maybe a left back and
a keeper.
But wingers are about the only thing we've got that we know we're good with.
Yeah.
All right. So Sean, I know that you're the regional rep for the New York area. Have you got any upcoming get-togethers planned?
Yeah, I'd like to get us together for the Wigan game. I believe it's the 26th of February. It's a Saturday. So obviously I'd like to get the legends if we can. I know it's the hub that we use, isn't it? So I'd like to get there. I think it's a 10 o'clock start. So
it is a 10 o'clock start.
And,
I spoke with Jack at Legends, and he's guaranteed guaranteed you a lot of television. I'm going to try and get.
Jack's a diamond as well. Anyone who knows him, he's a great guy, Jack.
So let's make Jack and Legends our unofficial sponsor for this. Legends have been showing Sunderland matches since I came to the US in 2001.
Yeah.
Jack has always taken good care of the Sunderland fans in New York.
Massively.
I know he was really impressed with you and your lads when you went in with was it the Euro final?
Yeah, the Euro final, yeah.
He sent me a message on Twitter and said, you're a canny lad and you always bring it. Didn't want to tell you because when you have a big head, but so we've got Legends on the 26th for the Wigan game. I will try and drive up from Virginia, see if I can get up for that one and get up with my wife. I don't want to stay with you though. I'll just stay at a hotel in the city.
Bollocks to you then,
well, if I sell the house in New Jersey, there'll be a couple of pennies in the bank account.
Nice one, son. Nice one.
Next up on Saturday, so we've got no midweek game this week. We've got what was it, Doncaster, who are rock bottom of the league,
struggling, aren't they? Yeah.
So you nailed on 3 points for Doncaster in that case. And it's just the way we are, mate. I mean, it's like I was always that Sunderland fan who hoped for the best, but outwardly would always talk about how bad we are.
Yeah.
But look, Doncaster have played 28 games to our 29. They got 19 points. You would think coming to the stadium alight would be too much for them, but again, we'll see.
They'll look at it as there's not a better time to play Sunderland. That's the way they look at it.
I mean, look, how many times have you played Football Manager and you're going up against a team that just got humped the week before? The press ask you how do you prepare, and you're like, well, they're going to be a little bit tender after that one. And
yeah,
but no, I think we should beat Doncaster. If we can't, the season's over. That's where as far as that goes with that one.
And let's ask you, if we don't, do you think he's gone?
I think you lose against Doncaster at home after that humping off Bolton yesterday, and he's got to go.
Yeah, you think?
I still think he's the right man for the rest of the season. I think he's on a fine, he's been given enough rope to hang himself, and I think defeat against Doncaster would be hanging himself. Look, we got Doncaster, Cheltenham, and Wimbledon coming up the next 3 games.
Is it Cheltenham or is it Morecambe? Cheltenham. Yeah, Cheltenham. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, at the Johnny Rocks Stadium.
Brilliant. What a
I love
name.
the fact they call it stadium. It's got like 12 seats in a porta cabin. But yeah, look, I mean, you said earlier, and I know I'm trying to get off, but you said earlier that Wigan have an awful February.
They do.
They've only got 1 game more than us, mate.
Yeah, I just mean fixture wise.
Who they got?
They've got. I believe.
So they got Oxford coming up at home on Tuesday. Then they got Stoke on Saturday. Then they got Sheffield, Charlton, Rotherham, Wickham. Yeah, it's a
tough one.
If they can come out of that with 12 points, I think you're looking at your champions right there.
Yeah, I mean Rotherham, Wickham, Oxford. They're not easy games. Then they've got us. They've got 4 games there that can slip up. By the way,
definitely. So look, and again, I'd love to see them beat Stoke just to give them another game.
Yeah,
I think that other game would be in February. I think that would push our game out and have to reschedule our game, which wouldn't be a bad thing.
They're still in the old Pizza Cup as well, aren't they?
They've got their Pizza Cup game is in March against Sutton. You'd like them to beat Sutton, so
Chris Sutton.
Chris Sutton, and I think Hartlepool are still in that one as well.
Oh, they're really?
So I think Hartlepool on the other side of that semi-final draw. I'd love to see Hartlepool beat Wigan at Wembley. Be funny as hell.
Yeah.
All right. So, what do you think we'll do against Doncaster?
I've got to go for the win, haven't I? I think it'll be tight. I don't think we'll smash them. I think.
Give us your prediction.
I'm going to go. Do you know what? Right. I think we're going to keep a clean sheet. I think we'll win 1-0. There you go.
Oh, that's going to be a crap game to watch.
Big Ross Stewart. I think he'll score. We'll win 1-0. There you go.
All right. 1-0 home win with Stewart scoring.
Yeah. It's worth a fiver, that, isn't it?
Is it? No, because no one's Sunderland. You put 1-0 on Stewart scoring and we'll win like 11-1.
Or we'll concede straight away and you bet down at the 3 minutes.
There's no worse. As a young man going to the Sunderland games, John Kay was always my first goal scorer, and then it was Chris Macon.
Yeah. Listen, we'll keep it. I think we'll be defensively. He'll play 5 at the back in that game. He's not going to want to lose that game, Johnson. I think we'll be defensively good in that game. So, and then you just look at it and think, I think we'll score and I think we'll see the game out. So, yeah.
All right, Sean. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for being my first guest.
Hey, anytime. It's an honor.
On the old Our Stars and Stripes and Maple Syrup podcast. We will be back next week. We've got 1 of 2 guests, depending on some scheduling issues. So look for us on Spotify and YouTube next week, and we will catch you again later.
Cheers, everyone.